The wind on Voronezh 9 never stopped blowing. The frozen moon spun slowly, its surface covered in white dust and cracked ice. The marketplace was built from scrap metal and broken starship parts. Everything was cold, rusted, and full of bad smells. Traders from all over the galaxy gathered there to sell things no one else would buy. Deep inside this market, behind old cargo containers and under a bent roof of steel, there was a cage. It was made from shock bars and chains. Inside the cage, a young alien girl sat curled up, her knees pressed to her chest. Her skin was pale blue, her hair silver like snow, and her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She wore torn cloth around her shoulders, and her hands were bound in energy cuffs. They called her untamable. The traders didn't know what species she was or where she came from. They said she bit anyone who got close and refused to eat anything but snow. Some thought she was just a wild animal in a strange form. Others believed she was cursed. But one thing they all agreed on, she was dangerous and useless. So they decided to sell her for meat. Can't train her. One trader grunted. Can't talk to her. Won't work. It's too wild. Meat's the only use left. We'll slice her up tomorrow, another one added, laughing. Her skin might sell for something too. The girl didn't move when they talked. She stared at the ice on the floor, breathing slowly. Her body trembled from the cold, but she didn't cry. She never did. Far away, a human freighter drifted toward the moon's station. His name was Russ Sparrow, and its pilot was a man named Cal. He was in his late 30s, with a scruffy beard, tired eyes, and a ship that had seen better days. He had no crew, just an old droid that didn't talk much, and a cargo bay full of junk. Cal was almost out of fuel. He had just enough to land and maybe take off once more. His credit chip was empty. He needed to find someone willing to trade. Something useful, fuel, or even a new power cell. Welcome to Voronezh 9, the landing officer said through the radio. Dock at Bay 12, watch your pockets. Cal landed the ship carefully. As the engines powered down, he looked at the readings. It was worse than he thought. He had maybe one more jump left in the tank. After that, he'd be stuck here forever. Still, he stepped out into the cold with his thick coat and boots, pulling the hood over his head. The air smelled like metal and old smoke. Snowflakes swirled around him as he walked through the crooked stalls of the market. He passed alien creatures, selling scrap weapons, half-eaten food, and broken tech. Some tried to stop him and shout prices, but Cal kept walking. He wasn't looking for trouble. He just wanted anything to trade. Then he heard a sound. Not loud, not clear, just a quiet hum like a whisper in the wind. He turned his head, and he saw her. The girl in the cage looked up at him. Their eyes met. Her gaze was sharp and deep, like it was reaching into his mind. Cal froze. He didn't believe in magic or fate, but something about her felt different. Like she didn't belong here. Like she wasn't supposed to be chained. Who is she? He asked a nearby trader. That thing? The trader laughed. Untamable alien. Won't obey. Won't speak. We're butchering her tomorrow. Want a piece? Cheap price. Cal felt something twist inside him. He looked at the girl again. She wasn't blinking, just staring at him like she'd been waiting for him. Has anyone tried to help her? Cal asked quietly. The trader rolled. His eyes help her. She's a waste. Can't even scream properly. Cal said nothing and walked away. But he couldn't stop thinking about her. Even as he checked other stalls, asked about fuel, and looked through broken engine parts, her eyes stayed in his mind. By nightfall, snow had thickened. Most traders had closed their shops and gone inside. Cal sat in his ship, staring at the control panel. The cold crept into his fingers. The ship's heater was running low. He looked at the last energy cell, still sealed in its case. I could trade it, he whispered. Get something to keep flying. Maybe a few more jumps. Looked out the window toward the marketplace. He stood up. Cal walked back through the silent snow. The market was almost empty. Only a few dim lights flickered from the stalls. He reached the cage. The girl was still there, her body now lying flat, barely moving. Her breath was slow, thin clouds of air forming from her lips. He stepped closer. Can you hear me? said softly. Her fingers twitched. Cal reached out and touched one of the shock bars. It sparked a little, but didn't hurt him. The girl opened her eyes again. They glowed a bit brighter, just for a second. I'm going to try, said. He returned to the traders and showed them the energy cell. This worth her life? Cal asked. The trader's eyes widened. That's a rare core. Where'd you find that? Does it matter? Trade or not? They laughed. Fine. She's yours, not our problem anymore. They tossed the keys to him like it was nothing. Cal ran back, unlocked the cage, and lifted the girl gently into his arms. She was light and cold, like holding ice wrapped in cloth. Her head rested against his shoulder, and for the first time, he felt her body relax just a little. He carried her back to the ship, past the rusted stalls and broken lights. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why she mattered so much, but he had given up his last chance to escape for her. Inside the Rust Sparrow, the cold wrapped around Cal like a heavy blanket. He laid the alien girl on the padded bench near the heating coil. The ship's weak systems buzzed as he turned the heater to maximum. Red warning lights blinked on the control panel, telling him power was running low. But he didn't care. The girl's breathing was slow. Her skin looked almost white now, and her silver hair stuck to her face. Cal gently wiped the frost from her cheeks. She didn't speak. She didn't move, but her glowing eyes stayed half open, watching him. You're safe now, Cal said softly, unsure if she could even understand him. He sat beside her and wrapped a spare blanket around her shoulders. Outside, the snowstorm grew stronger. Ice hit the side of the ship like soft taps. Cal leaned back, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath. What have I done? He whispered to himself. He had no fuel, no supplies, no plan. He had given away his last energy. Sold the one thing that could have saved him. Now he was trapped. On Voronus 9 with an alien girl that couldn't speak and barely moved. But when he looked at her again, he didn't feel regret. He felt something else, like this was the right thing. Like he was meant to save her. The hours passed slowly. Cal tried to repair small systems around the ship to keep the heat going. The power dipped lower every minute. At one point, he thought she had stopped breathing. But then her fingers moved again. By morning, her skin had some color again, a soft blue instead of pure white. Her eyes opened wider, and she looked around the ship with slow, curious glances. She still didn't speak, but something had changed. You're awake, Cal said with a tired smile. That's good. Hey. Girl sat up a little, leaning on her elbow. Her body was weak, but her eyes were alert. Cal offered her a warm drink. It was just heated nutrient broth, but she sipped it slowly without complaint. I'm Cal, he said, tapping his chest. Cal. She stared at him for a long moment. Then, with a quiet, broken voice, she whispered, Cal. He froze. Wasn't perfect, but she had spoken. She could talk. She understood. Double quotes, yes. He smiled. Yes, that's right. She pointed to herself, paused, then shook her head. It seemed like she didn't remember her name. That's okay, Cal said. We'll figure it out. After some time, she tried to stand. Cal helped her, and together they moved around the ship. She touched the walls, the lights, and the screens like they were familiar but distant. When she stepped near the engine room, something strange happened. The lights blinked, and one of the dead systems briefly turned on. What did you do? Cal asked, surprised. She looked back at him, confused, and shrugged. He watched her closely. She touched a broken circuit, and it glowed faintly. She touched the hull, and the temperature rose slightly. Cal realized she wasn't just healing. She was connected to energy, maybe even producing it. He led her to the front of the ship, where the star map sat unused. He pulled up a display of nearby systems. She studied it quietly, then reached out and pointed to a cluster of stars far beyond Voronus 9. Home, Cal asked. She nodded slowly. Your people are out there? Again, she nodded. Her expression grew sad. Her glowing eyes dimmed for a moment. We'll get there, Cal said without thinking. Then he paused. They had no fuel. How could they reach a place that far away? Unless someone hears us. He turned to the old radio transmitter. It barely worked, but it still had an emergency beacon. He adjusted the signal and aimed it toward deep space. This is Cal Harris, he spoke into the mic. Freighter. Russ Sparrow, parked on Voronezh 9. Requesting help. I have a passenger who needs to return home. Any ships within range. Please respond. He repeated the message several times, then leaned back and sighed. I don't know if anyone will hear us, he said. The girl touched his hand. Her fingers were warm now. She gave a small, hopeful smile. Suddenly, a loud beep rang out from the rear scanner. Cal rushed to the screen. Several blips appeared, ships approaching. We got a response already? He asked, hopeful. But then he saw the symbols. No, bounty hunters. Someone must have told them about the girl. Maybe the traders. Maybe someone else who wanted money. Bounty hunters didn't care who she was or why she was special. They'd capture her for the reward or worse. We have to move, Cal said quickly. Now, he ran to the controls and tried to power the engines. The ship shook, but didn't lift. Not enough power. The girl looked at him, then walked to the control panel. She placed both hands on the surface. The lights flickered. The engines groaned. Then the ship slowly rose from the ground. You're doing this? Cal asked in shock. She nodded. Cal held the controls while she kept her hands steady on the panel. The Russ Sparrow lifted off the icy moon just as the first bounty ship entered orbit. Plasma fire chased behind them. Cal dodged as best as he could, flying low through the clouds. We need to lose them, he shouted. The girl closed her eyes. Her glow became stronger. The ship began to move smoother, faster. It was like something alive had joined the systems. Like she was part of the ship now. They broke through the upper atmosphere, then shot toward the dark stretch of space between stars. Cal finally caught his breath. You saved us, he said. She opened her eyes, breathing hard but smiling. Thank you, Cal, she whispered. And for the first time, Cal believed that maybe, just maybe, they had a chance to find her home. The stars outside the window moved slowly now. After their escape from Voronezh 9, Cal and the alien girl drifted in deep space. The engines had cooled down, but there was still no real fuel. They had only enough power to keep lights and life support. The girl had used her strange energy to help them escape, but now she looked tired. She slept near the front panel, curled in a blanket. Her body rising and falling with each breath. Cal sat beside her, staring at the emergency beacon. It blinked every few seconds, sending out the same message again and again. Come on, he whispered. Someone answer. He rubbed his face with both hands. He hadn't slept much. They had food for maybe 3 days, water for 5. No weapons, no shields, and no real way to fly far. Without help, they were just floating in darkness. Still, he looked over at the girl and smiled. Saving her had felt right. Even now, with nothing left, he didn't regret it. When she woke up, she looked stronger. Her eyes were brighter again. She sat up slowly, watching the stars. Feeling better? Cal asked. She nodded and pointed to herself. Then she said something soft. Her voice was gentle, and her words were new. Sira, she said. Sira, Cal repeated. Is that your name? She nodded again and smiled. Nice to meet you, Sira, Cal said, offering a hand. Sira looked at his hand for a second, then reached out and gently touched it. Something warm passed between them. It wasn't electricity. It felt more like comfort. Together, they checked the systems. Cal explained how the ship worked, and Sira listened closely. She seemed to learn fast. When Cal opened a broken panel, she stepped forward and placed her hand on the wires. They began to glow slightly, and some of the old circuits sparked back to life. How do you do that? He asked. Sira tilted her head and pointed to her chest, then the stars outside. You're connected to energy, he asked. She gave a small nod. To? Space itself? This time she closed her eyes and touched the main panel. On the screen, a small blue trail appeared. It moved between systems, crossing dark space. That's where you came from? Cal asked. She tapped the end of the Linan old star cluster far from known trade routes. That's where you want to go. Sierra looked at him and nodded firmly. Cal studied the map. It was far. Too far without fuel. We need help to get there, he said. We can't make it alone. Just then, a beep echoed through the ship. Cal jumped up and ran to the transmitter. Someone's answering, he said. He pressed a button, and a voice came through crackly, full of static. This is the cargo vessel, Loxton. We received your signal. Who is the passenger? Cal hesitated. He said too much. They might come to take Sierra like the others did. She's injured, he said carefully. Needs to return to her home. System, we were attacked by bounty hunters. There was silence for a few seconds. Then another voice came. Coordinates locked. We will reach you in 12 hours. Remain in place. Cal shut off the signal and turned to Sierra. Help is coming. Sierra looked unsure. Her smile faded a little. What's wrong? Cal asked. She sat down and drew shapes on the glass. Dots, then one line through them. She looked up and tapped her chest. They tried to hurt you before. She nodded. You don't trust others. She nodded again. More slowly, Cal sat beside her. Then we'll be careful. If they're not good people, we won't go with them. 12 hours later, the Loxton arrived. It was a large transport ship, old but still running. It stopped beside the Rust Sparrow, and a small voice came through again. Prepare for docking. We're sending a medic team. Cal looked at Sierra. She didn't move. You want to hide? She nodded. He opened a small storage panel beneath the seats and helped her inside. It was warm with air vents and soft padding. She fit perfectly and gave him a small thumbs up. Cal opened the door as two beings stepped inside. One was a tall, insect-like pilot. The other a human medic with gray hair. You're lucky we found you, the medic said. Lots of bounty. Chatter around here. Who's the passenger? She didn't survive, Cal lied. We were attacked. I sent the signal too late. The insect captain tilted its head. Your ship has signs of a strange energy pulse. Where did that come from? An old engine surge, Cal replied quickly. It happened when we tried to jump. The two looked at each other. Well, said the medic, we can still offer you a ride. Where are you headed? Cal paused, then answered, the nearest trade station. We need to refuel and rest. They agreed and offered to tow the Rust Sparrow behind their ship. Cal accepted, and soon they were moving again through space. Inside the storage panel, Sierra stayed quiet. Cal tapped twice on the wall to let her know things were okay during the trip. Cal overheard some of the crew talking. There's a bounty out on a girl. Silver hair, glowing eyes. Worth a fortune, they say. Cal's stomach turned. We're definitely looking for Sir. When they reached the trade station, Cal made a plan. He'd find a private shuttle and get away quietly without the crew knowing. But Sierra had to stay hidden until then. As he left the ship to speak with a merchant, the medic followed him. You sure you were alone? The medic asked. Suddenly Cal turned. It's strange. Our scanners picked up a second heartbeat. Faint. But there Cal forced a smile. Maybe the ship's old systems are acting up. The medic watched him for a second too long, then nodded and walked away. Cal returned to the ship fast. We need to go, he whispered to Sarah. She climbed out. Of the panel, her face serious. Someone knows. He pointed to a small shuttle on the far side of the station. We'll take that. It's quiet, unmarked, and fast. We'll reach your home system without stopping. Sierra looked at the shuttle, then back at him. You would do that? She asked softly. Cal nodded. You're not a prisoner. Someone worth saving. I'll see it through. Together, they slipped out of the Rust Sparrow, careful to avoid the crew. The trade station was busy, but they moved fast, their eyes always watching. They reached the shuttle just as alarms started to ring behind them. They found out, Cal said. SIRA placed her hand on the shuttle, and its systems powered on without a key. They jumped in. As the shuttle launched into space, Cal looked at her with wonder. You really are something else. Sierra smiled faintly. We go home now. The small shuttle moved smoothly through the stars, leaving the trade station far behind. Cal sat in the pilot's seat, his hands steady on the controls. Sira sat beside him, her glowing eyes focused on the map. She seemed calm, but Cal could feel the tension between them and the stars. They had escaped again, but it was getting harder each time. "How far is it now?" Cal asked. Sira pointed at the blinking spot on the screen. It was still far, maybe 3 jumps away. They had enough power for 2. "We'll figure out the last jump when we get there," he said with a tired smile. Sira nodded. She opened her hand and closed her eyes. Small sparks of light formed in her palms, soft and harmless. It was like she was gathering energy from the air around her. "Does that hurt you?" Cal asked. She looked at him and shook her head. She said slowly. He was surprised. She was speaking more now. Her words were broken but clear. "You've been afraid a lot, haven't you?" he said gently. Sira nodded again, then pointed to her heart. "Alone, for many stars." Cal didn't need a translator to understand. She had been taken from her home long ago. He didn't ask how. He didn't want to make her remember pain. They sat in silence for a while. Outside, the stars glowed gently, quiet and peaceful. It felt like they were finally getting closer to something good suddenly. A warning light blinked on the panel. "No," Cal muttered. "We're being followed." On the screen, a ship appeared behind them, fast, sharp, and black as space. Number, markings. "That's a hunter," Cal said. Sira looked worried. Her hands began to glow again, stronger this time. "Can we fight?" she asked. Cal shook his head. "This ship's not made for battle." The hunter ship sent a message. Cal played the audio. "Hand over the girl, and we'll let you go. Resist, and both of you will be taken." Cal turned off the message. "What do we do?" Sira asked. "We run." Cal pushed the engine hard. The shuttle jumped to maximum speed. Stars stretched like lines. The hunter ship followed, closing in. "Fast. They're faster," Cal said. "We need another way." Sira stepped toward the power core. She placed both hands on it and closed her eyes. The ship's lights flickered. Then everything became quiet. Calm. The controls glowed softly. The engines became stronger. "I'm helping," she said. Cal felt it. The ship wasn't just running. It was gliding like a bird in wind. "Hold on," he said, aiming for a narrow asteroid field ahead. They entered it fast. Rocks floated in all directions, sharp turns, sudden shadows. Cal dodged and twisted, guided by Sira's soft directions. Left, out, fast. They moved between massive spinning stones, and the hunter ship struggled to follow. Scraped one rock, then another. They're falling behind. Cal shouted, "Sira!" Single quotes as hands glowed bright. Her body trembled slightly. The ship responded to her touch like it was alive. They reached the end of the field and Cal hit the jump drive. Stars flashed. In a moment, they were gone. When they reappeared, everything was still. "We made it," Cal breathed. Sira collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Hey, Cal said, rushing to her. "Are you okay?" She nodded slowly. "Just tired. Used too much." He helped her to the seat. "You saved us again," he said. She smiled faintly. "You saved me first." They shared a quiet moment, both feeling the weight of the escape. I think we're close now," Cal said, checking the map. "This is your system, right?" Sira nodded. "Home." Cal tapped the last star. "We're just one jump away." But the fuel reading blinked red. "Of course," Cal sighed. "We're out of jump power?" He leaned back. So close. Sira stood up and walked to the window. Her eyes searched the stars. "There is a way," she said slowly. "What do you mean?" She pointed to herself. "I can open the way, but it is dangerous." Cal stood beside her. "Dangerous how?" "Takes all of me," she said. "No," Cal said quickly. "Not letting you do something that'll hurt you." "You already gave your last," she said, touching his hand. Now it is my turn. He looked into her glowing eyes. We'll find another way, he said. But Sira closed her eyes and lifted her hands. The ship began to hum softly. Blinked in patterns, like a song. Energy gathered around her. Sira, please, Cal said. Stop. She looked at him. I am not afraid now. And then light exploded. The ship jumped without fuel. A crack in space opened, just for them. They were pulled through, surrounded by soft blue fire, and then they arrived. Before them, the planet shined with golden clouds and green rings. It looked alive, peaceful. Glowing Cal looked at Sira. He was on the floor, her body still. Sira, he lifted her gently. Her eyes were closed. But her heartbeat was steady. A signal came through the ship's radio. This is Solari Station. Our near-protected space. Identify yourself. Cal pressed the mic. My name is Cal. I brought someone home. There was a pause. You brought the lost daughter. If her name is Sira, then yes, stand by. Escort ships are on the way. Cal looked down at her. You're almost home. The stars outside seemed to shine just a little brighter. 3 bright ships appeared from the side of the glowing planet. They moved with smooth, perfect motion round shapes, silver wings, and no visible weapons. Their light didn't blink red or yellow like human ships, like with soft blue calm, like a star's gentle breath. Inside the small shuttle, Cal stood at the window while Sira rested on the padded seat. Her eyes were closed, but her breathing had become more steady. Her body was still weak but alive. The voice came again through the radio, clearer now. You have crossed into Solari space. Your signal matches the code of the missing one. She aboard your vessel? Cal pressed the button. Yes, her name is Sira. She's safe, but she needs help. Lower your shields and prepare to be guided. We are bringing you home. 3 ships surrounded the shuttle without fear or threat. No weapons were drawn. Instead, calming pulses of light moved from their sides to the small shuttle, guiding its controls gently. Cal didn't need to touch anything. The ship moved like it was floating on air. As they got closer, Cal saw the surface of the planet. It was full of glowing forests, rivers of soft green light, and floating towers that shimmered like water. He had never seen anything like it. It looked untouched, quiet, and ancient. Sira stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, and for a moment she stared. At the screen her voice was soft, almost a whisper. Home. The shuttle landed in a wide garden, surrounded by tall, crystal-like trees. A group of tall, glowing beings waited there, dressed in robes that flowed like mist. Their eyes shined the same way Sira's did, but even brighter. They didn't carry weapons. They carried light in their hands. One of them stepped forward as Cal opened the door. You brought her back? The being said. Its voice was kind, deep, and calm. Cal nodded. She saved me first. I just helped her get here. They walked toward Sira. The tall figure knelt beside her, placing a hand near her chest. The glow in their hands passed gently into Sira's body. Her breathing grew stronger, and her eyes opened again. Elder, she whispered. Welcome, daughter, the figure replied. We're safe now. Tears ran from Sira's eyes. The others stepped forward, bowing to her. They whispered soft chants, their voices mixing into a peaceful song. Cal stepped back, feeling like he didn't belong here. But before he could return to the shuttle, Sira called out, Cal, come. He turned. She reached out her hand. The elder looked at him. You have done something rare. You brought back a piece of our heart. We owe you. Cal shook his head. I don't want anything. I just wanted her to be okay. The elder smiled. Then come with us. Witness what your kindness has awakened. They led Cal and Sira through the glowing garden. Soft lights moved through the air like fireflies. Trees opened paths as they walked, and the wind carried music from unseen places. Inside a large crystal hall, they sat on smooth stone seats. Sira leaned against Cal, her strength slowly returning. The elder stood before them. Many years ago, one elder said, our people sent a small star being to explore. She was too young. We lost her to the outer worlds. We searched, but she vanished. Until now. Sira lowered her head. I was taken, she said softly.
You used
Me, feared me, locked me. And yet you lived, the elder said. You're strong. Another elder looked at Cal. You risked your life for her. She looked at me like I mattered, Cal said. I couldn't walk away. Most would, the elder replied. But you didn't. You saw more than a cage. You saw a person. They bowed their heads in. Respect. Our kind does not forget such actions. One of the elders touched a tall crystal. A vision formed in the air. It showed Cal's ship, the traders, the market, the snow. It showed Sira in the cage, and it showed Cal stepping forward, giving away his fuel, now lifting her into his arms. This memory will be shared among stars, the elder said. So others remember what one human did when no one else cared. Sira stood now, her strength returning with each moment. Her silver hair glowed fully. Her eyes shined bright like a newborn star. I want Cal to stay. The elders looked at one another. He is welcome, one said, but it must be his choice. Cal looked around. He thought of his ship, his lonely life, drifting from place to place, always tired, always cold. And then he looked at Siraj. She smiled at him. Stay. He nodded slowly. The room filled with soft music. The elders stepped forward and gave Cal a robe made of light threads. They placed a crystal in his hand. You are now guardian of the return, they said, friend to our kind. From that day forward, Cal stayed on the glowing world. He learned their ways, their language, their songs. He lived among the stars, not as a stranger, but as family. And Sarah, she became more than the lost girl. She became the bridge between her people and the humans. A symbol of hope, of kindness, and of a future where no one would be caged again. Cal woke up to the soft light of two suns rising over the glowing hills. The trees outside his window shimmered like they were made of crystal dew. Birds with long wings floated silently through the air. For the first time in his life, he felt rested, peaceful. The home given to him by Sira's people stood at the edge of the Great Lake. It was built from smooth stone and living wood. Warm wind moved through the open walls, and soft lights danced along the ceiling when he thought of something calm. He stood, dressed in the simple robe the elders had gifted him, and walked outside. He could see Sira waiting for him near the edge of the water. Her long silver hair flowed down her back, and she looked stronger than ever. Her skin glowed with soft light. She looked like the star being they had always said she was. She turned. When she saw him, "You slept late?" she teased with a smile. Cal smiled back. Must be the soft bed. They sat beside the lake together. The water was clear and deep, showing reflections of the stars even in daylight. Do you ever miss your ship? Sira asked. Cal shrugged. Sometimes. It was a part of me, but it was always broken, always running from something. Here I feel like I've stopped running. She nodded. I used to feel like that too. Like I had to hide who I was. Now, I feel whole. They were quiet for a moment. Then Sira stood. The elders want to see us. Both of us, Cal asked. Yes, it's important. They walked through the forest paths guided by glowing petals that floated like fireflies. Other beings of Sira's kind passed by, nodding with respect toward Cal. He was no longer the stranger. He was the human who had brought one of their own back. The one who gave up everything for someone he barely knew. In the crystal hall, the elders stood in a circle, their long robes touching the polished floor. One of them held a glowing orb. It pulsed with a slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. We have watched you both, the elder began. Your bond has grown strong, and with it, so has our vision for peace. What do you mean? Many across the galaxy still live in fear. Many still trade life for metal. They must change that, and we believe the two of you can help. Cal frowned. What could we do? Another elder spoke. You bring two worlds together, one of stars, one of humans. You understand pain, kindness, and strength. We wish to send you as guides. To where? Sarah asked. To other systems. Two lost places, to those who suffer like you once did. Sira looked at Cal. He thought for a moment. You want us to travel again? Not as traders, the elder said. As protectors, as voices. A third elder stepped forward. We will. Build you a ship'll live like our world, but shaped to fly through the darkest parts of space. You will not be alone. The stars will travel with you. Cal looked at Sira. Do you want to do this? She nodded. If I had not met you, I would still be in a cage. If we can help others escape that, then yes, I want to go. He smiled. Then I'm in. The elders raised their hands, and the orb floated between them. It opened like a flower, releasing a beam of soft light. Above them, a new shape formed a ship, glowing and alive, its body breathing with energy. It looked nothing like any machine Cal had seen before. It looked peaceful. It will be ready in 7 days, the elder said. Until then, rest and prepare. Over the next week, Cal and Sira trained with the Starborn builders. They learned how to move with the ship's rhythm, how to hear its pulse, how to guide it not with buttons, but with thought and feeling. Cal found that the ship listened to him when he was calm and focused. Sira could speak to it directly, her energy now fully in tune. On the 7th day, the entire village gathered as the ship lowered into the main field. Its body glowed with soft blue veins. It looked like a large silver petal with wings. The elder touched Cal's shoulder. What will you name it? Cal looked at Sira. She smiled gently and said, Hope. The elder nodded. Then the ship Hope will carry your light to the stars. As Cal and Sira stepped aboard, the walls formed around them warm and gentle. No loud engines, no shaking parts, only a steady beat like a heartbeat of the universe. The ship rose into the sky, quiet and proud. They looked down one last time at the glowing world, the world that had given them peace, purpose in each other, and then they turned to the stars. They visited broken colonies where children had never seen a tree. They stopped traders who still locked the weak in cages. They healed dying machines and shared the story of a girl once left for meat, and a human who gave away his last hope to save. Their story traveled faster than any ship. People whispered of a glowing ship called Hope, of a man and a star girl who brought peace where there was none, who reminded the galaxy that no life was too small to save. And one night, in the far reaches of dark space, a young child in a forgotten station looked up and saw a soft blue light streak across the stars, and for the first time, he smiled, because he knew someone was out there, and they were coming to help.